is on.
Just hang tight, we'll be starting soon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The City Manager's Office has expressed Councilmember Cordero and Aguilera Hernandez requests to participate in today's meeting remotely. Madam Clerk, can you please provide the council with the necessary information?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cordero is requesting approval from the council to participate remotely in today's open and closed session. Per AB 2449, Councilmember Cordero is requesting remote participation via emergency circumstances due to a physical or family medical emergency that prevents him from attending in person. Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez is requesting approval from the council to participate remotely in today's closed session. Per AB 2449, Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez is requesting remote participation via just cause circumstances due to child care need. If council approves these requests, council members Aguilera Hernandez and Cordero must participate by audio and video and must disclose those 18 years or older that are present in the room prior to each vote.
Thank you. So I move to allow Councilmember Cordero and Aguilera Hernandez to participate in today's meeting remotely. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we need a roll call or just an aye?
Voice vote is fine.
Pardon?
Voice vote is fine.
Voice vote? Okay. All those in favor?
I just wanted really quickly.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Watson, we don't have quorum in the room.
As soon as they approve, Mr. Cordero becomes the quorum. So
Okay.
technically there's a quorum in the room. They just have to approve his participation.
Okay, thank
And
you.
Maribel is on too, right?
Well, Maribel will not be considered for attendance until such time as she can get video on both sides. She'll be
Okay.
listening in until she can
Got it.
participate that way.
Okay.
Different new rules.
Got it.
Okay, the vote, it'll be a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of April 16th, 2024. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez. Councilmember Escobedo. Councilmember Cordero.
Aye, here.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto.
Here.
And Mayor Patino.
Here. So the first order is to open up for public comment. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have requests to speak.
Okay, thank you. So I'd call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting April 16th, 2024. I have 5 requests to speak. And first is Jeremy Goldberg, followed by Matt Lewis, followed by Andrew Klein.
Good afternoon. Jeremy Goldberg, Executive Director of the Central Coast Labor Council. We're a coalition of 75 labor unions representing about 70,000 workers that live and work here on the Central Coast. And the message here tonight is pretty simple for this council, which is that we're listening and we're watching. How a city treats its firefighters is indicative of how a city treats its other workers, be they farm workers, grocery store workers, city employees, teachers. This matters to everybody. It is not just about the people sitting in the room, but it's about every person whose home they go into. And those are workers too. And so what you do, how you treat these workers is important to all of us. And how you handle this contract negotiation and how you look at their worth to this city, their value to this city, we'll be paying attention and remember in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Lewis, followed by Andrew Klein, followed by Matt Cherkop.
Good evening, Madam Mayor Patino, City Council, City staff. My name is Matt Lewis, 19-year employee and proud Local 2020 third Vice President. As I began to prepare this statement, I asked myself, is it even worth it after all that's happened so far? Am I wasting my time? I quickly came to the conclusion that it's my duty. The public needs to know the reality of the situation. City Hall knows they can afford to pay us an average wage, but they continue not to make public safety a priority. City Council, you as a whole still fail to do your due diligence, regardless of the factual information Local 2020 has provided, using the city's own numbers, need I remind you, and you continue to allow City Hall to use you like a pawn. Mayor Patino's prepared statement at last council meeting was full of errors, and it's a clear illustration to that point. City priorities or lack thereof for public safety continues to send Santa Maria Fire Department down a path that is unsafe. Local 2020 is putting our foot down and saying enough is enough. Retention issues, dwindling numbers of qualified candidates, and decreasing department morale are all symptoms of inadequate pay and will lead us to unsafe working conditions if not addressed appropriately. When I first started my career here in 2006, there were only 2 promotional opportunities in the first 7 years. Now we are having them almost annually, which on the surface may sound like a good thing, but let me inform you, it is not. Because of retention issues and the vacancies created, younger, underprepared firefighters are forced to promote earlier than they would like out of department need, not necessarily their own personal desire. Chief Dandridge can attest and tell you himself that he needs many of our current firefighters with less than 3 to 4 years of experience in Santa Maria to promote to engineer, or there simply won't be enough spots to place the newly hired firefighters we have starting this Monday. This is no knock on the employees, as they are very capable of learning the engineer position above them, perform well, and pass the required tests to meeting our standards. But they will also be robbed of the time they would have as a firefighter to solidify the foundation that their entire career and life or death decisions as a supervisor will be built upon. Moving forward, average pay addresses this problem, keeps employees from using our department as a training ground to move on to better paying departments, and stops the waste of taxpayers' money to constantly retrain new firefighters. Not to mention the price of lost knowledge that can't be measured when employees leave our city. It's not too late to reverse your decision. Pay us an average wage and truly show the citizens of Santa Maria that public safety is a priority and not just words you say at a luncheon or to get elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Andrew Klein, followed by Matt Cherkoff, followed by James Grainville.
Good evening, city officials and city staff. My name is Andrew Klein. This is my son, Aiden. I've been in the fire service since 1998 and speaking in support of my local 2020 family. I stand before you to give you a short glimpse of what has been occurring in my own personal life as a result of this city's inability to pay attention to the needs of your firefighters. First, a bit of history. 20 years ago, I was dealing with my dad's illness, which he contracted from Agent Orange exposure during the Vietnam War. He was sick for the last 7 years of his life. Despite his condition, we continue to run a successful pharmacy business where he and our family serve people with love and respect for 20 years. Service is what I was raised on and had a huge positive impact on my life. Dr. Klein suddenly passed away on April 22nd, 2004, and I had the unusual opportunity to attempt resuscitation on him as his life was slipping away. Overnight, at the age of 20, I became man of the house, supporting my widowed mother and grieving sister. I then worked 2 jobs, many times working 2 weeks straight without a day off. My savings account was depleted, living paycheck to paycheck, but I had a lot of love and respect for what my dad did when he was fighting to stay alive. In turn, I worked tirelessly to support my family and kept the promise to my dad that I would take care of things. Little did I know that almost 20 years later, I'd be in a similar financial situation even as a city employee. I don't have a savings account, My amazing wife and I both work full-time raising 4 amazing kids, and the paychecks continue to hit our account but quickly depleted because of increased inflation and the childish games our city government have been playing with our firefighters union. Due to our current situation with the city's inability to care for its own firefighters, I will now be applying for a second job, pulling me further away from my home, my wife, and my kids. And this is a house that we've been building up for many years to keep our family fed and sheltered. There is hope. Councilman Escobedo once said, when you get to the community will care about you and they will invest in you. Look at this room. And the support around town and the conversations around town advocating for our firefighters and our families. Mr. Escobedo and council and city officials, we are still waiting for your support. I'll leave you with a quote from Cory Booker. Caring is the key that unlocks doors and opens eyes to the needs and struggles of others. Please show us and the city you actually do care about your public servants. Care for us as we have done for countless others. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Matt Cherkoff, followed by James Rainville.
Good evening, City Council, City staff. My name is Matthew Cherkoff. I'm a fire captain and also president of the Santa Maria Firefighters Union. I want to start off with a quote tonight. Quote, "It's about priorities. We are not claiming an inability to pay." End quote. That quote came directly from your representative. Investing in your firefighters is an investment in the safety of the community. Enough of the self-praise. In your words about how you care about public safety. In the State of the City address and in your election campaigns, you talk about public safety. But what you don't talk about are your firefighters. You conveniently lump us together with the police department when you tout how much money is spent on public safety, but you never explicitly talk about the firefighters who are out there saving lives, keeping people safe, and protecting your property and the community. What you may have forgotten is our duty to serve is to put others before ourselves. Here's another quote. "We are not using market data this round of negotiations," end quote. It's classic. I can appreciate the allure of a catchy headline of a news article or a shocking soundbite from a previous council meeting, but that doesn't mean it's true. We could cite inaccurate news articles that originate from God knows where, but we just prefer to look at the data. And it's time you should too, and that includes your own data. That doesn't mean listen to an interim new hire who's been here for a few months telling you a narrative that doesn't support your firefighters. You should understand the finances yourself. It's unfortunate that the hired attorney convinced you to declare impasse and for a second time to turn your back on us. It's also unfortunate that no matter what I say or what the community says will change your mind. So let's just move on with it. We will continue to sacrifice ourselves for the community, and you will continue to collect and stash obscene amounts of tax money and pat yourselves on the back about your pay first policy. Now I want to leave you with this. There's no shame in admitting you're wrong. There's no shame in changing your mind. That actually deserves a lot of respect. You are elected to represent the people, and if you look behind me, the people are here. They have written letters, they have spoken to you, they've been displaying our signs in support of us, and they are calling on you to invest in the community by investing in your firefighters. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. James Rainville. Followed by Charlie Martinez.
My name is James Rainville. I've lived in Santa Maria for 21 years. I come from a firefighting family. My father was a firefighter, a policeman, a sheriff, an ambulance driver for Dinuba, California in the 40s. In 45, we moved to Fresno. He worked for the Fresno Fire Department all of his life. And I went to work for California Division of Forestry when I was 14 years old. and worked 4 years and had fires burn over the top of me. I know a little bit about fire, and I think the council members should go out to one of these training sessions and try on the uniforms and the jackets and the pants and the boots and try even just to walk in them. And before you make your decisions, think about how you would work in these conditions. These people are special. They work hard. They save lives. They save property. Give them a fair amount of pay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, followed by Jill Pontes.
Excuse my tardiness. My name is Charlie Martinez. I represent the California Professional Firefighters, specifically the 5th Federal District, and Vandenberg Air Force Base firefighters here. Some of them live in Santa Maria. Some of them work for Santa Maria. And you guys have the numbers. We've shown you tons of numbers. You guys can't hide your heads in the sand. You know the numbers. So I'm just going to speak from the heart. These professionals that work for your city, that protect your city, the sacrifice for your city, some of them I've personally seen under my watch. I've seen them grow. At my firehouse or at the fire academy, these are good people who want to live and work in this city. They're also husbands and wives and family members who also want to protect their families and have a decent, respectable wage. They've respectfully and even forcefully at this point have asked, begged, pleaded to get average pay for the county. They're not asking to be paid millions of dollars. They're not asking for an exorbitant amount of a raise. They're asking for minimum, the average for the county. And to be told that twice at the table, then that's it, is a spit in their face and a spit in the city's face, that knowing that their protection is minimalized by this council. And it's a shame. When people sit there on campaign trails saying public safety is priority several times, promised during their campaign trails that public safety was priority several times. Some of them aren't even here to listen to this. It's a shame. It's shameful. It really is. That's speaking from the heart because I've seen a lot of these members grow. Some of these are personal friends of mine, and I care deeply about them. But more importantly, I also care on the business side that I have members that also live here who love this city, one of the fastest growing cities in the state, one of the highest expanding cities in the state. Look up the numbers. You guys all know that. And to sit there and say we don't have the money is shameful. It's disrespectful. And you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Respectfully saying this. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves if we're going to tell our firefighters who will still call, who will still answer the call. But don't get it twisted. They have families here. You're okay with firefighters leaving to other cities. You're okay with the future of our firefighters leaving to other departments. You're okay with being a growing grounds for other departments. You're okay with that because you have never rode an engine. You have never, God forbid, been on the other end of a 911 call when you ask for these professionals to respond. But many of your constituents have. They know what these people do. They know what they're capable of, and they want nothing more but to sit here, stay here, and work at this city, working for you, working for these people. And they deserve the minimum amount of pay. To go to impasse is disrespectful, and you have an opportunity to make it right. Look at yourselves in the mirror. If you can't look at these faces, look at yourself in the mirror.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Jill Pontes.
Good evening, council members. Before I introduce myself, I just wanted to ask if any of you know who I am. Honestly, I've met 4 out of 5 of you, and I wonder if you even know who I am. Not that you should, and not because I'm anyone of any importance to you, but because you are a 3-2 council of women to men. And I applaud you, women, for rising to a position of power. I understand how hard that is, and I know it takes a lot more work than anyone knows. It takes courage and dedication to the community to be where you are today. As women in powerful positions, it's your job to not only be strong yourselves, but empower others. You have a lot of people looking at you right now. You have the opportunity to be strong women and do the right thing for the people. Not just the people who elected you, but the people who work for you. Be the women that all of these men and their families look up to, the ones that they're going to admire, not the ones trying to tear them down, not the ones that they're never going to trust again. Don't be those women, don't be that person, don't do that to us. I feel like it's pointless talking about numbers and facts. We're way beyond that. It's about doing the right thing now. And as much as I appreciate the incredible hard work that SCIU does, you cannot compare us. The average person sees 2 traumatic events in their life. 2. Our firefighters, the average firefighter sees 187. This is a very busy city. And over a 30-year career, our numbers are a lot higher. Firefighter suicide rate is through the roof, higher than it's ever been. Then add on a high rate of cancer, infertility, and years off of our life due to sleep deprivation. We are not the same. To be offered less than them is not just a slap in the face, it's heartbreaking for someone who's put their life on the line every single day. I am expected to die for each and every one of you. We are not the same. Don't treat us that way. Don't treat us as less. We're just asking for average. I've put my heart and soul into this community for 22 years. But do you even know who I am? There's only 61 firefighters in the smallest bargaining unit in the city. I am your one and only female firefighter. I don't think my name even matters to you.
Thank you, Ms. Pontes. We will close public comment. The city will now recess to a closed session and will reconvene to the regular meeting at 5:30. Madam Clerk, can you read the closed session?
The City Council will discuss 3 items. 4A is real property negotiators pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.8, property including APNs 125-320-009 and 125-320-034. Item 4B is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6. And item 4C is public employee recruitment city manager pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.8.
We will reconvene at 5:30. I would like to note that the interpreter for this evening is Mr. Vajezi. Mr. Vajezi, would you mind raising your hand? Please ask him for listening devices if you would like interpretation services. Antes de llamar a la Junta a orden, me gustaría notar que contamos con servicios de interpretación para esta Junta y el señor Vajezi está sentado atrás. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of April 16th, 2024. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez. Here. Councilmember Escobedo.
Here.
Councilmember Cordero.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto.
Here.
And Mayor Patino.
Here. Before we move forward, I'd like to acknowledge that the City Council has approved Councilmember Cordero participating remotely per Assembly Bill 2449 for this meeting. City Attorney, Mr. Watson, would you like to give us a report of closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor. With respect to items 4A through C, instructions were provided to the negotiators and information was provided to council. No further report shall be given.
Thank you. The first proclamation this evening will be a proclamation for a National Day of Prayer. I will be making the presentation. Whereas National Day of Prayer is an annual event established by the Act of Congress, which encourages Americans to pray for the nation, its people, and its leaders. And whereas days of prayer have been called for since 1775, when the Continental Congress designated time for prayer in forming a new nation. And whereas in 1863, Abraham Lincoln called for such a day. And whereas officially, Day of Prayer was established as an annual event by an act of Congress in 1952 and was signed into law by President Truman. And whereas the law was amended in 1988 and signed by President Ronald Reagan, establishing the Day of Prayer as the first Thursday of May each year. And whereas Day of Prayer affords everyone the ability to exercise their freedom to gather and pray, to unify hearts, communities, and the country, while holding dear their faith, freedoms, and to one another as fellow Americans. And whereas the City of Santa Maria is celebrating the 27th annual Day of Prayer and continues to host one of the largest Day of Prayer gatherings in the state of California. Now therefore, I, Allison Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognize the second day of May 2024 as National Day of Prayer in the City of Santa Maria, and encourage people of all faiths to participate in the Day of Prayer and attend the observance at the Santa Maria Veterans Memorial Center from 5:30 to 7:30. Witness thereof, I have caused the hand of the seal of the City of Santa Maria to be affixed hereto this 16th day of April 2024. And here to accept this is Mrs. Leach, Veronica Leach.
There we go. Mayor Patino and City Council members, thank you so much for the honor. It's quite wonderful that we have 27 years of observing prayer and honoring that in our community. And this year is going to be very special again, so thank you so much.
I know it's going to be a different venue and a different time, but thank you very much for putting that together. We'll be seeing you there. The next proclamation this evening will be for Public Service Recognition Week, and Councilmember Soto will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas Americans are served every single day by millions of public servants at the federal, state, county, city, and tribal government levels, these unsung civil servants do the work that keeps the government functioning and helps make this nation exceptional. And whereas public employees take not only jobs, but oaths to put the public first. And whereas many public servants, including police officers, firefighters, and others, risk their lives each day in service to the people of the United States and around the world. And whereas public servants include accountants, clerks, analysts, engineers, planners, librarians, attorneys, inspectors, laborers, computer technicians, and countless other occupations. Day in and day out, they provide a vast array of services demanded by the American people of their government with efficiency and integrity. And whereas without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. And whereas, well, in an uncharted territory with the coronavirus pandemic over the last few years, these same public servants quickly adapted with creativity and flexibility to keep providing essential services to our residents, with heightened sensitivity to unique needs, resilience to persevere, and a collaborative spirit. Now, therefore, Alice M. Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognizes May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Public Service Recognition Week in the City of Santa Maria and encourages all residents and businesses to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of government employees at all levels: federal, state, county, and city. And to accept this proclamation, we have Kaylee McLeod.
Good evening, Mayor Patino and City Council members. On behalf of the City of Santa Maria's employees, the Human Resources Division is accepting this proclamation, so thank you. As you stated, it's, I believe, May 19th through May 25th is National Public Services Recognition Week, meant to recognize and honor public servants at all government levels. The city employees from all 10 departments here are dedicated to improving quality of life and providing essential services for all the residents of the City of Santa Maria. National Public Service Recognition Week provides an opportunity to acknowledge and honor their commitment and contributions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next proclamation this evening is for National Autism Awareness Month, and Councilmember Escobedo will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and it's an honor and privilege to be presenting this proclamation for National Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism is a complex neurobiological disorder that typically lasts throughout a person's lifetime, and it's part of a group known as Autism Spectrum Disorders, or ASDs. Whereas autism affects all persons regardless of race, religion, socioeconomic status, or geographically. And whereas disparities in access to healthcare, education, and services have placed an undue burden on individuals with disabilities and their loved ones. And whereas one in 44 children in the U.S. is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And whereas individuals with ASDs and their families face tremendous and overwhelming challenges in accessing and navigating the complex programs and services for these disorders. And whereas early intervention can improve learning, communication, and social skills, as well as underlying brain development. Now, therefore, Alice M. Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, do hereby recognize April 2024 as National Autism Awareness Month in the City of Santa Maria and encourage businesses and residents to recognize the talent, abilities, and contribution of individuals diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And here to accept this proclamation, we have Mr. Edgar Gascon.
Mayor Patino and council members, I want to thank you for the proclamation today. I know that this means a lot to the families, parents, and caregivers, but most importantly to those individuals that are living with autism. I just wanted to share 2 quick facts about ASD. It impacts 1 in 36 children, and it is one of the fastest growing developmental disorders in the United States. Again, on behalf of all those who live with ASD and those supporting the autistic community, thank you. We appreciate the recognition and hope to continue partnering with the city to provide autistic youth and adults with schools and work spaces for their development and community engagement. Thank you all.
Thank you. The next presentation is a presentation for the businesses of the quarter from April to June 2024, and Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez will be presenting the certificates, along with Mr. Morris, I guess.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public that are here with us today. As the mayor mentioned, each quarter we bring before you 2 local businesses as examples and types of the innumerable number of businesses that exist in our community, all of which do so much for providing employment and support and resources in our community. But we find that if we bring a couple of them in each time, we can use that as a way to spotlight what is really great about our community. Tonight's no exception. I'm pleased to present 2 of our small businesses and share just a little about them. Begin first with Trojan Petroleum. Trojan Petroleum was founded 43 years ago by Bud and Eva Richards. They have since grown into a full-service petroleum distributor, specializing in delivering fuel to farm locations and job sites throughout Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. They have proudly maintained family ownership through all of those years and have employed now 4 generations with a collective employee experience of more than 340 years. These people know fuel. Again, the business started with 4 employees and 1 truck. Today, they have 20 employees and 15 delivery trucks working around our region. They are members of a number of different communities in our organizations in our community, as well as in their professional circles, including, of course, the Chamber of Commerce, but also CoLab, the Santa Maria Fair Park Foundation Heritage Club, Santa Maria, California Women for Agriculture, and California Fuels and Convenience Alliance. Mayor and members of the council, it's my privilege to introduce to you Kathleen Brody, President, and Larry Schubert, Secretary of Trojan Petroleum.
Mayor Patino, council members, I'm emotional. 43 years ago, my parents started this company, and I was a single mother with nothing but high school education and 43 acres. So I raised pigs and sold Tupperware. When my parents asked me if I would like to come and do invoicing for them, I said, take off your shoes, I'll kiss your feet right now. 43 years later, I have 20 wonderful employees who are all like a family. And without each and every one of them, I would not be able to stand before you today and accept this wonderful award. So with enormous gratitude in memory of my mother and father, and standing beside my wonderful son, I gratefully accept the award and thank you from the very bottom of my heart. And without the farmers in this county, I wouldn't have a work, I wouldn't have a job. I would not be here, standing here today. So I want to include them in my thanks and all 20 of my employees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second business of the quarter this evening is Arrow Plumbing Drain and Repair Service. Founded in 1991 by Daniel Kayuma, the company provides, a plumbing company obviously, providing services in the residential and commercial sectors, both on the service and repair side. Like many of us, they continue to find new opportunities and have recently added new construction for single-family homes and, of course, ADUs. The year 2000 was a new beginning for Arrow Plumbing. At that time, they operated one service truck. Daniel's son, Kaniela, had ideas and ambitions, however, about growing that business into something a little larger. Since then, the company has grown to operate 7 trucks with a brick and mortar location as well. From 1991 to 2001, Daniel, Dad, operated the business and brought along his family as part of that. And then in 2003, when he passed, his son continued to operate that business. They currently employ 8 individuals. You know, Mayor, one of the things we talk about a lot in these presentations is the ways that our businesses give back in our community and support our community. I actually am not going to read you all of the things that this company has donated money to and time to just in the last year, but let me give you just a flavor. Elks and Elks Rodeo, Cruise for Life, Altrusa, One Dream Hopes, the Alzheimer's Project, St. Joseph's School, St. Mary's School, the Hancock Rodeo Team, Central Coast Boxing, Central Valley Soccer, the Guadalupe Bulldogs, the Kiwanis Club of Guadalupe, Orchid Youth Football and Softball, United Way, and VTC, and there are more. So, Mayor, it's always a privilege when we have an opportunity to recognize a business that truly understands investing in their community. This is a company that values quality over quantity and continues to support their customers by providing same-day service, and they say they can typically complete those repairs on the same visit. So it is my honor at this time, Mayor and members of the council, to introduce the owner of Arrow Plumbing, Mr. Kaniela Kayuma, and his wife and business partner, Jessica.
Simply, thank you for recognizing our business. Like you mentioned about my dad, I want to thank him because he definitely taught me a trade, a skill, a work ethic. You know, coming from Hawaii it feels a lot like this Central Coast, and I really genuinely love this area because it does make me feel like I am in Hawaii. You know, we go places, we run into people. There's generational families here. I do like going into homes where we do service, and I look at their wall and I see a picture and I'm like, hey, who's that to you? And they're like, oh, it's my granddaughter or my grandson or my sister or my brother, my cousin. So I really do like that about the Santa Maria area, Central Coast. There is a true community here. I love the barbecues. I love how we all get together for that. I am honored to receive this, recognition. Never played sports, wasn't great in school. School wasn't my thing, but, I'm a good plumber, so. Basically, thank you guys all, and appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morris. The next item is a presentation on the transit system update and Public Works Transit Services. Manager Gamaliel Anguano will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. We're here before you with an update on the progress of the city's transit system. We thought it particularly important with light of the major reworking that we've done of our transit system to address the major challenges our industry and even our society was facing in 2020 and 2021. While this would have been a great time to fold up our arms and say the challenges are too great, there's nothing we can do about it, this is precisely the time when staff got to work and revisited how we can improve our public transit system. After a 2.5-year analysis of the impacts of those changes, I am happy to report that we've addressed every single one of our intended goals. We addressed every single one of our intended goals. We were able to address gaps in our service, improve the safety, the efficiency, and the reliability of our transit system, all hallmarks. We improved our on-time performance, we've improved the rider experience, and we've readied our transit system for the future. This is all reflected in our growing ridership. Our ridership today is now over 125% higher than its lowest point in the pandemic. And this highlights two aspects for us. One, we have been successful in the changes that we've made, but two, there continues to be a growing and dependent population on public transit to address their mobility needs. This is a vital and essential lifeline for many in our community. But we've not only focused on the needs here locally, we've also started to look beyond our city borders and see how we can support other fellow communities as we're all intertwined. On this regional map here, the blue lines indicate routes that we already provide as Santa Maria Regional Transit. The other colors indicate other service providers that interact with us here in Santa Maria. But I'd like to point out that, and as you'll hear later on, we are in varying discussions with these different service providers to discuss how Santa Maria Regional Transit can further improve their transit riding experience and help them address some of the challenges that they still have before them. So true to our work, we've gone from being Santa Maria Area Transit to being Santa Maria Regional Transit, or SMART. We'd like to encourage our riders, our community, to travel smart, to go smart, and ride public transit. That's my plug. But we've also have another challenge before us. The Air Resource Board has mandated that every public transit system in the state of California transition away from fossil fuel vehicles over to zero-emission vehicles. This presents its own challenges, but like in before, we've reviewed this as not just a challenge, but an opportunity to revisit every specification possible on our electric vehicles. There is no detail too small or technology too forward-facing that we have not considered. I've only highlighted a couple here, everything from inclusion of medical-grade air purification system, antimicrobial contact surfaces, the ability to pay with your phone or your smart device, free Wi-Fi, onboard video infotainment system, the ability to charge your personal device in your seat because communication and public transit go hand in hand, to even inclusion of artificial intelligence that will help us plan our transit system, not just for today, but that we need for tomorrow. We brought over a lot of this technology and a lot of these benefits over to our paratransit system so that those who have disabilities so severe that cannot ride our regular fixed route bus can also benefit from our paratransit system. But we're not just looking at the needs of Santa Maria today or even the next 5 or 10 years. We continue to push forward and think about what strategic investments we can make now so that our community is set for the next 50 years to come. Our work has been recognized by the industry with at least 3 recognitions, which is a wonderful thing to receive, put in the hard work of our staff to see the industry recognize that. But we've not rested on our laurels. As I mentioned, we are looking towards the future and seeing how we can ready Santa Maria for that. So, in the near future, we'll be deploying, per the recommendation of our short-range transit plan, an on-demand microtransit system. This will be provided with the showed microbuses here. This is a smartphone application in which you book your trip and pay for your trip, and we will provide you curb-to-curb service, kind of in the flavor of Uber and Lyft. For those whose mobility needs exceed beyond our fixed route service or need a more specialized trip. We're also looking at ways of enhancing our local fixed route system with more sophisticated forms of public transit. For example, a bus rapid transit system. This is where buses get priority by getting dedicated lanes or traffic signal prioritization. Traffic signals hold the green light for a bus or start the sequence. This is not only a benefit for our rider, but this is actually a great tool for communities to create or facilitate reinvestment in our cities. These are known to be economic generators, and developers come and redevelop underutilized properties and then provide tax-paying real estate. We're also looking at the day when there's a proliferation of autonomous vehicles, and we actually have an opportunity within Santa Maria to be forward-thinking, and we're analyzing the benefits of having one connecting Allen Hancock to our transit center using an existing multi-trail where there is no or little conflicts. We're also thinking about how these technologies will impact our existing infrastructure, our existing facilities, and are readying our facilities so that we have opportunity charging so that we can support our electric fleet, not only of that of our own, but that of our neighboring communities, so that when Guadalupe, Clean Air Express, or Slow RTA sends a bus to Santa Maria, we can provide these services to them as well and support them. But again, true to form, no detail is too big or too small. We're even visiting our bus transit waiting environment by procuring bus shelters that are less prone to vandalism. But we're also thinking about ways we can enhance that experience by introducing shade structures that you would find on a playground in lieu of a boring bus shelter at parks. But we're also considering that our ridership is younger and younger every day, more technology savvy, and their expectations are a little higher. So how can we incorporate features that, again, not only address our need today, but that of our ridership in the future? We're also investing in our workforce, making sure that our drivers are equipped and capable of addressing these emerging technologies. As part of the award of a $6.6 million low to no emission federal grant to the city of Santa Maria, we've acquired one of these virtual bus training simulators. This is a 360-degree exact replica of the vehicle these bus drivers will have to navigate on our narrow streets. But this can't all be done alone. We have to do it with other technology partners. To date, we have 3 smartphone applications, one for real-time bus information, another for digital bus passes that you no longer have to carry cash, and of course the one that's for the ride-hailing microtransit system. Also part of the partnerships is those services or those community members that we serve. I'd like to highlight just one of those, and that's with Allen Hancock Community College, where we have the Bulldog Go Pass. This provides free student passes for all Allen Hancock students under a grant program. We are now in discussions with them on how we can extend this program into perpetuity. With that said, I'd like to end my presentation and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the dais? Ms. Soto?
Well, one, this is so exciting. So thank you so much to you and the whole team. This is really exciting stuff. My question is, I know you talked about partnerships, but are there any other partnerships, any other partners that you're working with as we move ahead?
Yes, and at different levels, of course. We have groups that work with disabled populations that are strong partners of ours, and we have some arrangements, probably not the same level as Allen Hancock. We are looking to establish even arrangements with major employers so that their employees, and so in different stages, different forms, and we would actually use this opportunity to provide an open invite to anyone else who would like to collaborate with SMART.
Ms. Aguilera Hernandez?
Thank you for the presentation. That was very thorough, and it's really cool to see all the technology and how we're incorporating it into our transit system. I think it's a great idea to give buses priority, being that we have really wide streets Broadway and Main, because that was just the history of Santa Maria, that we would be able to use that room for probably a bus that is able to travel faster and get priority. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Can you go back to where it shows the different routes?
It's just yeah.
That one, right.
Okay.
Okay, I understand we're talking about maybe going to San Luis Obispo, just,
That is one of the discussions being
okay.
had.
So it'll just be straight up to San Luis and then straight back, no stops along the way?
That is the general notion, and that's
Okay.
all to be negotiated with our partners.
Okay. And how long, on the one to Cuyama, do we just go right? We don't make any stops there?
So it is a very rural road between Santa Maria and New Cuyama. If there was a need, we would gladly entertain it, but at this time, there isn't a population base between those 2 points.
Okay. That's it. Mr. Escobedo, did you have any questions?
I have a comment and a question. I've seen you guys innovating and going outside the box, and I think it's public works and what you guys do. It's just fascinating. I've met with you guys several times to learn and to get to know these new ideas, and I think that's from my standpoint, it's really valuable. So thank you guys. I'm really excited. I share the excitement of trying new things. And I have a question in regards to the app. So right now you mentioned there are 3 apps. One to keep track of where the bus is, and then another one to pay, and the third one to self-booking. Has there been any conversation has any possibility of making it one? Because, I mean, adding 3, it can be a little bit, can have some confusion, but kind of like putting in one spot, or is there, there has been any conversation how you can put those 3 in one app so people just need to add one?
So I am happy to report that we are in discussions with at least 2 of those providers that have branched on beyond their initial offering of either one of the services or the other to now offer an additional one. So we need to evaluate those and then bring a recommendation. But to the frustration of transit industry, there's next to no provider that does that whole yet. The industry is finally turning its attention to it, and so we're excited to see some of them already providing more than one function.
Yeah, no, I just think of, going to the app, jumping from one to the other one. But I think it's just something that a lot of our constituents, particularly the real-time bus location, I think that one is just huge. I remember sitting on, it was like a gas. I don't know if you would wait 5 minutes or 45 sometimes. So now having that location, I think that's gonna, allow us to encourage people to use it. They know exactly when to leave their home so they can get to the bus stop and take off. And the passenger waiting, I think that's another thing that definitely need to look into. I mean, there's some really nice bus stops, but there are others that are very chaotic. I've seen a couple in the Northwest particularly. And but yeah, definitely it's something that when people feel safe some of them are like, I don't know if you would like to wait once it's dark. So, I'm really looking forward to see how we can provide a better service encourage people to use the bus system. So thank you guys and great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have the open public comment period. Madam Clerk, can you please read the criteria?
Yes, Madam Mayor. The public comment period, let me see, I'm sorry, let me get to it. The individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes or as directed by mayor. And we do have 6 speakers.
Okay, thank you. First speaker is Christian Sorto, followed by Benjamin Ortiz, followed by Gary Hall. Okay. Mr. Vajezi, you are needed.
So he'd like to know who needs to talk, who does he need to talk to request a calisthenic park for the city of Santa Maria?
Well, Mr. Posada's not there right now. Probably the best thing to do first would be, my guess, is to go to the Parks Commission meeting. And yes. A calisthenics park. Angela is here. We'll solve it right now.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vajezi. Benjamin Ortiz, followed by Gary Hall, followed by Colleen Muir. Good evening, Mr. Ortiz.
Good evening. Hello, Mayor. Hello, council members. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Benjamin Ortiz. I'm a resident of Santa Maria in District 2. I'm here today to speak in support of our firefighters and their negotiations. My comment is brief because the request is simple. It's in support of our firefighters. They are asking they're asking for a reasonable update to their contract, and in my opinion, they're asking for the bare minimum. There are public services that cost more and provide less value. It is our firefighters that respond when our homes are in danger. These are the people that respond when our lives are in danger. And I don't know if this is true or not, but they also rescue kittens from trees. Our firefighters, like all of us, deserve to be paid a living wage, to be able to support a family if that's what they want, and one day to be able to retire. Thank you for your time, and please do what you can to support our firefighters.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Gary Hall, followed by Colleen Moore.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and staff. I'm here for the 69th time to introduce myself as being Gary Hall. I'm a resident of Rancho Buena Vista Mobile Estates at 2135 North Railroad Avenue here in Santa Maria. I represent the North Santa Barbara County Manufactured Homeowners Team, or NSBT. Over 100 other California jurisdictions have enacted effective rent stabilization ordinances and programs that have provided their mobile home park residents with the protection we seek. We continue to ask the City of Santa Maria to do the same. In 2018 and 2019, NSBT representatives worked long and hard with the city and mobile home park owner representatives to craft a program that would protect mobile home park residents from unnecessarily large rent increases and other practices that threatened the elimination of affordable mobile home housing in Santa Maria. Some progress was made, but over the well-documented objections of NSBT and the residents for whom the model lease was supposed to benefit, City Council passed with a 3-2 vote Resolution 2019-19 that includes the existing model lease agreement and the enforcement agreement. Our NSBT goal remains to provide protection to all Santa Maria mobile home residents presently living in an unregulated rental market where the current model lease program has been ineffective in protecting homeowner equity and maintaining affordable mobile home housing. On June 6, Council Members Soto, Escobedo, and Cordero in these chambers boldly passed a motion that reads, and I quote, "To examine the model lease agreement, looking for ways to improve it and to look at alternatives." Thank you for passing that motion. Now, 22 months later, some progress has been made. However, success still seems very distant. We are hopeful that the outreach plan, which has been first drafted recently by Interim Assistant City Manager Wu, can soon be implemented. We continue to believe the outreach goal should be to engage all homeowners in all mobile home parks and make them aware of the existence of the model lease, to inform them and educate them about the lease options and notify them where they can continue to get reliable information. We, the mobile home residents, are committed to continue good faith discussions and efforts to now meet the outreach goal and the overarching NSBA goal I stated earlier. We are ready and willing to work with the city to achieve those goals with or without the participation of the park owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Colleen Murr, followed by Cheryl Hassan, followed by Mona Shaver.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor. I'm talking to you right now concerning the increase in fees for recreational participation at the Muscle Center, particularly the doubling of the fees to take it's a chair exercise class that benefits those of us who are senior citizens who are semi or partially disabled or injured who sign up for these classes in order to maintain health and mobility. We were notified in class in about mid-March that the fees were going to increase. As of April 1st, they doubled. Those of us who are going to these classes really depend on that so that we can maintain our health and mobility. And we're quite shocked that there was no heads up about this price increase, and the fact that many of these senior citizens are women who are living alone, who are on limited income, and are even benefiting constantly from the food bank because they don't have the resources, they don't have the funds. So I want you to look at this, consider finding a way to budget so that you can meet your responsibilities for your departments and not hit senior citizens, partially disabled or disabled, taking these classes, and a lot of them can't afford it. And it's sad, you know. So think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Murr. Cheryl Hassan, good evening.
Good evening, City Council. It's been a while since I've been here.
It has. It has.
I'm Cheryl Hassan. I'm from District 1 with Carlos. I'm here supporting the seniors also. I'm getting there. And the way prices are going, they can't do the stuff that they need. They need these exercises and these classes for their mobility, to get their bodies moving. Besides that, they need it for their friendships and to be together and be friendly. Being stuck in your house by yourself, one person, you lose everything. You lose your mind, you lose your body. That is the only thing they have. We should be able to find something They have worked for us. They have paid our wage for our kids with their taxes. It's our turn to pay them and help them. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mona Schaefer for, it says for Elena DiParini.
Yes. Honorable Mayor and Ms. Pantino and City Council members, on behalf of the Edwin Muscle Center, Senior Center, this has to do with the Zumba Gold and the chair aerobics participants. We have come together to express our deep concerns regarding the recent price increase in exercise classes targeting at seniors. A recent price increase 100% or more for exercise classes, indeed alarming, as they are threatening to exclude many seniors and rely on those classes. The monthly fee has increased to $44 from $20 for residents. Non-residents prices increased to $54 from $26. While the Senior Silver Sneakers programs provides valuable benefits for eligible seniors, not everyone qualifies due to Pacific Insurance requirements. It's essential to consider alternative ways to ensure that all seniors can participate in these classes without undue financial burdens. Mr. Smitherman contemplated are accessible and commendable, but requiring seniors to submit a Pay Inc. application for financial hardship seems unnecessary. Ideally, classes should be affordable for both residents and non-residents, allow everyone to benefit from these essential programs. Here are some of the reasons. Affordability. Many seniors live on fixed incomes, and the increase in expenses directly affects their quality of life. These exercise classes are essential for maintaining mobility, preventing falls, and promoting overall health. By making them more expensive, it's a risk for those who can't afford it. Social interactions. So the Senior Center is not just a place for exercise, it's a hub for socialization. Seniors come here to connect with friends, share experiences, and combat loneliness. Higher fees may discourage attendees, leading to isolation and decrease in well-being. Health benefits. Regular exercise has been proven to enhance in strength and flexibilities on older adults. Making classes less accessible, we jeopardize the health of our community members. Community support of Santa Maria, Parks and Recs should prioritize the well-being of the members over profit. We understand that managing costs is essential, but there's alternative ways to achieve financial stability without burdening seniors. There's some solutions that we have thought. Lowering fees to $25 for residents, $31 for non-residents. Sponsorships and grants. Explore, do I stop or just keep on?
Go ahead.
Explore partnership with local businesses, nonprofit, and government agencies to ensure funding for senior programs. Grants, sponsorships can offset the cost and maintain affordability. We love our instructor. She's very good. She deserves a raise. She hasn't gotten a raise in 6 years. So in conclusion, I urge you to consider the price hike and prioritize the well-being of our seniors. Let us continue to build a strong, healthy, and connect community by keeping exercise classes accessible to all. We refuse to be silent, a minority.
Thank you very much. That closes public comment. Any comments, Mr. Posada?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Good evening. We have worked with Rec and Parks as far as the fee goes, and just to make it clear about the relationship with the class is run by an instructor, and that instructor is an independent person who runs their class on their own. They set their fees based on what it costs to, what they would like to earn in their, their pay. The impact that we have is that in order to meet some federal regulations, we as the city cannot contract with those individuals. We actually run them through a personnel agency. So for every dollar that we collect in fees, we pay that agency about 40 cents. Is that right, Interim Director? Somewhere in that range? Yeah. So we have to pay them the cost. So unlike some of our other programs like swimming pool passes or walking into the youth center, those kinds of things are a little bit more general fund oriented, where the council has set a priority for us to use those funds to offset the costs. So I don't know that I could say it's 100%, but the majority of the dollars that are being charged in that monthly fee are going to the instructor or to the personnel agency that employs them. So it's been a dilemma for a while. The IRS regulations don't allow us to have contractors in that sense anymore, where we actually direct them. So we'll work with the group and see if we can't come up with some other alternatives. The speaker did mention the opportunity for PLAY to provide sponsorship or scholarships, and that is an opportunity. That's one of the reasons PLAY exists, is to, if someone has a hardship, they can let us know, and then the PLAY Board of Directors can decide if they want to provide some scholarship money for those programs, and I'm sure they would.
Ms. Murray, if you come up to the podium, please. I closed public comment, but I'll open that up. Go ahead.
Very quickly, I just want to mention, it's a curious thing that you contract out that particular aspect of your recreational care when you can take care of the swimming programs and the other programs. So that's something to look at. Contracting out is not always a benefit.
Thank you. Thank you. And we certainly will look at this when we come to the budget and see how we want to handle that.
Yes, thank you. And Interim Director Oslin will follow up with them.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the consent calendar. I have 2 speakers for the consent calendar for 13D1. And that's the Federal Transit Administration 5307 Program of Projects for the federal fiscal year 2024 through 2027. And Margie Kern and Jeff Starr. Good evening, Ms. Kern.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I just wanted to say a few words about the 5307 project selection process and commend the city for going through the process that's been outlined for years of doing a call for projects and identifying those projects which meet the needs of the mobility needs of the urbanized area, which is basically the city of Santa Maria plus some Orcutt and other neighboring communities. But it is a yearly process. We do a 4-year call for projects. And so we can amend this at any time moving forward, but it's the city's responsibility to identify what the local needs are. So you go through a process, you have evaluation criteria, and the city then sends that, once it's approved by the city council, the city then sends that to the Santa Barbara County Association of Governments Governing Board, and we incorporate that priority in our federal transportation program. So I just want to support what the city has done and look forward to continuing working with the city to identify the local transportation needs of the urbanized area. So thank you.
Thank you. And Jeff, is it Straw? Straw. Yes. Okay.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Jeff Straw. I'm the Executive Director of the San Luis Obispo Regional Transit Authority. As you probably know, the RTA currently operates hourly Route 10 fixed route bus service from San Luis Obispo to all the cities in between to down to Santa Maria on weekdays from 6:14 in the morning until 8:43 in the afternoon or in the evening. We also operate 5 round trips on weekends, on Saturdays, and then 3 on Sundays. I just want to mention, as part of the staff report, I'm not sure we agree that the HDR consulting plan was truly co-developed, since our concerns about actual operating costs were not addressed in the final report. But most importantly, the study did not include development of an equitable, fair costing scenario that would have informed the negotiations on the item before you. We believe we are providing a service that is at least beneficial to Santa Maria residents and businesses as it is for San Luis Obispo County residents. Only 11% of our miles are operated in Santa Maria, yet 20% of our passenger activity occurs here. A lot of that has to do with the makeup of this area and the economics of this area. The high demand density at and around Allen Hancock College is a good generator of service, as is the transit center itself and the medical offices over by Marion Regional Medical Center. But most importantly to your economy is the greater shopping opportunities in Santa Maria in comparison to the rest of South SLO County, which contributes to higher sales tax collections here by SLO County residents. If Route 10 pass-through funds are not provided to the RTA for baseline services, the RTA Board of Directors will need to decide what RTA Route 10 service reduction should be considered. I will seek the board's authority to seek public input on these potential service cuts at the RTA Board's May 1st meeting. What I am seeking is the alternative that's addressed in your staff report, that a fiscal year 24-25 FTA Section 5307 pass-through not to exceed $270,440 be allowed so that we can further negotiations among the city, the RTA, among the SLOCOG, and SBCAG, so that we can continue developing 4 important agreements that we've been working on for as long as I've been at RTA for 12 years. A fair and equitable share costing agreement is the first one. The second one is a passenger fare sharing agreement. The third is an important one, an emergency mutual aid agreement. And the fourth one is an emergency electrical bus charging agreement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stroh. Okay, I'll bring this to the consent calendar. Does anyone have items they wish to pull for discussion? Ms. Soto?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to pull item 13D1 for further discussion.
C1. And that's the payment of warrants?
I believe it was 13D1, the Federal Transit.
Oh, you said D1?
D1.
Oh, D1, I'm sorry. D1, okay. And that's the Federal Transit Administration that we're, okay?
Yes, that we just heard about. Thank you. My question to staff is, can you tell us a little bit about the 2 applications that were submitted?
Yeah, thank you. So, as mentioned, SLO RTA does provide a route into Santa Maria, and then they submit a bill to Santa Maria for 20% of the cost of that route. Because according to their data, 20% of their trips originate or end here. But what we found is that at least half of those are because SLO County residents need access to our community, and we welcome that. We want to see that. But Santa Maria shouldn't front the bill for 20% of their operating costs, particularly because the reasons that SLO County operates their transit system are theirs and theirs alone, and Santa Maria has no say, no participation in that process. Any other contributing member to the SLO RTA gets a seat on their board, but Santa Maria has been asked to just hand over the money and not participate in the process. And so what we've asked is that an agreement be reached, and once we have a mutual agreeable, then we can talk about the money.
Thank you. Okay. So anyone know, no one else has anything they want pulled? Okay, do I have a motion?
I move.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the consent calendar and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Cordero, anything from you?
No, Madam
Okay.
Mayor, I don't have any items and I have no further discussion.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Escobedo.
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto. And Mayor Patino.
Aye. The next item on the agenda is the Measure U and the Recreation and Parks Commission appointments. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title and begin the staff report?
Yes, this is the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee and Recreation and Parks Commission appointments. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, the request before you tonight is to make various appointments to vacant positions on the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee and the Recreation and Parks Commission. I will present the committees one at a time for consideration of the appointments and the City Council's ratification.
Okay.
And we do have one public speaker for this item.
Yes. And so any written correspondence?
No.
Okay. Matt Chirkop?
I made a typo, that's 15A.
Oh, that he's going to amend that to item 15A.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, so you continue with the staff report.
The Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee has a total of 3 vacancies at this time. Staff has received 1 application from John Childers Jr., who previously was nominated by Councilmember Waterfield. Councilmembers Aguilera Hernandez and Soto each have a nomination to fill on this committee to fill terms ending in January 2027. Councilmember Escobedo also has an additional nomination to fill the unexpired term ending in January 2025. Following the nomination, an appointment will then be confirmed by the mayor with ratification by the City Council.
Okay, Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez, do you have a nomination?
One moment.
Okay.
There was only one applicant for Measure U. And we have 2 vacancies.
There are 3
Three
vacancies.
vacancies.
total.
3 vacancies.
Yes. Yes, correct.
No, I don't at this time, actually.
Okay. Councilmember Soto, do you have a nomination?
I do not at this time.
Okay. Councilmember Escobedo?
Where'd he go?
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Posada.
so the current Measure U Oversight Committee is short members, so it's important that we do get some representation. So if the council members have any ideas of anybody that might be interested, the position is nice if they have, a financial background so they can oversee the reports that are generated by the staff and how Measure U money is being spent. So if you have some nominations, please feel free to get them to the clerk so the clerk can, get them agendized for us to consider the next time around. And we will bring this item back till we get the positions filled.
Okay, yeah, because it's really important to have those positions filled on that. So I will just have to go on to the next.
We do have the Recreation and Parks Commission also.
Okay.
That commission has 1 vacancy at this time, and staff has received 4 new applications from Isaac Berhuman, Anais Diaz, Benjamin Ortiz, and Jose Ramirez. Councilmember Soto has 1 nomination to fill on this committee. The appointee will serve a term of 4 years, ending January 2027, or coterminous with Councilmember Soto's term. Following nomination, appointment will then be confirmed by mayor with ratification by the City Council.
Thank you. Councilmember Soto, do you have a nomination?
I do.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Anais Diaz.
Okay. And I'll accept this nomination and make a motion to appoint the nominee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
And Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
And Councilmember Escobedo is not at his seat at the moment.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a regular business item. The Measure U annual report for the period ending June 30th, 2023, as submitted by the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee. The presentation will be made by Interim City Manager Alex Posada and the Interim City Manager Chun Wu. Vice Chair Owen will also be available for questions. Good evening, Mr. Wu.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, as you know, Measure U is our local transaction and use tax to support essential city services. The Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee consists of residents that provide oversight of the revenue generated and the expenses made, ensuring that they are consistent with the City Council's intended use. Vice Chair Jack Owen is in attendance here tonight to provide additional comments. The committee's duties consist of reviewing the annual independent financial audit on Measure U revenue and expenses, as well as any other financial reports necessary to advise the council of its findings. In 2019, the council set goals and objectives regarding the use of Measure U proceeds. The goals are to first, maintain services, and second, to make service enhancements. The objectives are to make Santa Maria safer with more services for youth and to improve quality of life, with 90% for public safety, 5% for youth services, and 5% for quality of life. On March 11th, 2024, the committee reviewed the draft unaudited financial statements. For fiscal year 22-23, $25,787,354 in tax revenues were estimated, and actual receipts came in at $27,104,495. This positive variance is due to growth in fuel, restaurants and hotels, and automobile and transportation industry categories. On the expenditure side, the council had approved appropriations of $31,843,788. Carryovers and appropriations from the City Attorney's Office, Rec and Parks, Fire and Police Departments resulted in a budget increase totaling $33,345,228. The City Council authorized Measure U fiscal year 2022-23 revenue to maintain a variety of services and programs performed by 115 full-time and part-time employees. As part of the fiscal year 22-24 full cycle budget process, the City Council authorized additional expenditures from current year revenues, as well as $6.06 million in reserves to preserve staffing in the city's match requirements for 9 firefighters, 10 limited service recreation positions, additional funding for the Black Gold Cooperative Library System, and other appropriations. Measure U began the year with a fund balance of $17,465,847, and because revenues exceeded expenditures by $374,816, the ending fund balance as of June 30th, 2023, increased to $17,840,663. The Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee finds that the budgeted expenditures comply with the City Council's direction. This concludes staff's report. Staff and Vice Chair Owen are available for further questions.
Any questions from the council? Mr. Owen, would you like to make any comments?
I'd just like to thank the council for their support and thank the community again, even though it's been a number of years, for their overwhelming support of Measure U by voting to raise their taxes to support ongoing efforts by the city to make it a great place to live, work, and visit. I'm hoping we're going to get additional nominees and additional members because this committee is vital. We have a lot of good discussions after the great presentations from staff, and we need to recruit some people and get this committee back to life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So do we have any written correspondence?
We do not, Madam Mayor, just the
So,
one.
Just a request to speak, Mr. Chirkop.
Hi again, council, city staff, Matt Chirkop, Santa Maria firefighters. First and foremost, I want to thank the community for passing Measure U twice. The community's support for Measure U, public safety, and their firefighters has been astounding. It's just amazing how they continue to outperform expectations year after year with Measure U. Even during COVID, the community was resilient, and that was evident in the Measure U receipts. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to read my public comment that I submitted to the Measure U Oversight Committee. First and foremost, I disagree with committee's recommendation that the revenue is, I believe the revenue is not being spent in line with the City Council's outlined goals and objectives, and this is why. The City Council has identified an eventual goal of a 20% for a Measure U reserve. The annual report states that as of June 30th, the fund balance was $17,840,663. This amount is attributed to budget carryovers from several prior fiscal years. I want to highlight these significant carryovers has led to an annual appropriations that increase year after year, many of which are not spent, allowing these carryovers to continue to add up. For example, page 3 of the annual report states that $1 million was allocated for a fire ladder truck. On February 28th, the fire chief told the firefighters union that the ladder truck was ordered with a $2.25 million price tag and that it would be paid in full in 2028 upon delivery. Additionally, it was stated that $1.8 million has already been set aside from an OES vehicle replacement fund. That's a free fire engine from the state of California that we no longer have. And we were setting money aside for replacing a free fire engine. Page 3 also states that $300,000 was allocated to purchase a water tender. However, just last month, the fire chief stated we're no longer purchasing that water tender since it will not improve the city's ISO rating. What is evident from the historical Measure U financials and reports is that Measure U has provided significant revenue stream for the city. In the last 4 fiscal years alone, Measure U has outperformed to the tune of $10 million. What is also evident is the city can't spend the Measure U revenue fast enough, confirmed by the growing fund balance. I bring these facts to your attention because of also our pay issue and the city manager's statement of financial constraints. So I urge the city council to reject this report. I don't believe it's being spent in line with your priorities, nor is it being spent in line with what we sold to the public. And when we put firefighters on yard signs, asking for them to tax themselves, and then we find out it's not being spent in accordance with how they voted, we take real issue with that. We have to be honest with the voters. We have to be honest with the Measure U funds, and we have to spend them, not earmark them year after year after year after year.
Thank you, Mr. Chirkop. Any comments? Any comments, Mr. Wu, Mr. Posada?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No comments.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I do have
Yes,
a comment.
Ms. Soto.
It's regarding the carryovers that we do year after year. At what point do we decide whether or not those are going to be appropriated or just spent or just appropriated? Is there a reason why we continue to carry them over rather than just spending them in the year that we say that we're going to spend them?
Do you want to answer that? Thank you, Councilmember Soto. I'll ask Interim Finance Director Bradford to come up and address that question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. The carryovers are result from the budget being adopted in a particular year, and then the council policies allow for carryover of those funds if they are not spent within that year.
Do they ever get appropriated to something else when we carry them over? Or do they stay in the line item?
Typically, it's at the discretion, per the resolution that you adopt with the budget, it's a discretion of city manager and finance director to continue to carry those over unless the department requests for some amendment and reappropriation of those funds.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Aguilera Hernandez?
So the department does have the ability to request the funds?
The department has the ability, or there's always a conversation with the operating departments that have those appropriations, whether they want them to continue to carry over, those items are still needed, or those funds should be redirected to something else.
I have another question.
Yes, go ahead.
And is this something that we visit during the budget in June?
If there is a request for reappropriation, then yes, that would be part of the budget discussion.
Thank you.
And that would be listed in the budget as a carryover item, correct?
Carryovers are not listed in the budget. However, any changes in the requested appropriations and the recommendations for changes would be listed in the budget.
Are we able to make a request that that be included in the budget in June?
Yes, it would be within the council's discretion.
Could do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you making that request?
I would like to motion that we include that in the June's budget.
And that's specifically a recap of what is in the carryovers
Yes.
from Measure U?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments at all? The council? Okay. The report has been received and it will be filed. The next, I'm sorry, my apologies. The next will be a report by interim city manager, Mr. Posada.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Good evening. So I did want to, I'm not sure if I did, so I'm going to do it tonight. I want to make sure that the community is aware that Mr. Wu has been appointed as the permanent assistant city manager. And in his place over in community development, Dana Edie has been selected to serve as the interim community development director. So Ms. Edie, thank you very much for stepping up and taking on that extra duty. We appreciate it very much. For those of you that don't know, Dana is the planning manager, and she is in the middle of a general plan update, so she's taking on a lot of extra duty. So, and in addition, her staff is also helping her out, so I wanted to thank her for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edie.
Thank you, Mr. Wu, too.
Thank you, Mr. Wu.
Coming up on your May 7th agenda, you have a closed session scheduled for labor and a closed session for city manager recruitment. We have some proclamations. This is always a fun one where we do our water awareness. The utilities department will have the children who have won the poster contest will be here to share their posters with you all. So we'll plan some time for that. You have a proclamation for Go Rodeo Days will be presented. A proclamation for Peace Officer Memorial Week, which will be coming up at that meeting. You will also have a presentation by the League of California Cities. Representative Dave Mullinex will come and talk about the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act, which is a measure that's on the November ballot. Then we will hear the third quarter financial report presented by Interim Finance Director Bradford. May 21st, again, closed session is scheduled. We're not sure if we'll be using that one, but it is on the schedule. Proclamation for Public Works Week, and I know Mr. Fulgoni always has something planned for that, so there'll be, I'm sure, something going on that week. A presentation by Santa Maria Community Television, bringing us up to speed on where our community television program is. The I know everyone waits for the pavement management presentation done by Public Works, so it'll be very good to see where we are. You know, and I'm really hoping that we're going to see some, with the investment the council made last year in roadways. I think Brett and his staff has done a great job getting these projects moving forward. So hopefully we'll see our index drop, right? That's what we want, or we want it to go up. Oh yeah, we want it to go up, so we want it to drop. Final approval for the CDBG action plan will be on your consent calendar. The Landscape Maintenance District engineers reports are scheduled to be on your agenda, as well as an update on the encampment response and homeless services that are being provided right now. That's it.
Thank you very much. So let's go to oral reports of council members. You want to start, Ms. Soto?
On Saturday, April 6th, I attended the closed session meeting. Let me backtrack. On Wednesday, April 3rd, I did the Ben Hayes show, and those are all my reportable items, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Aguilera Hernandez?
Yeah, I attended the closed session on April 6th, the Kite Festival on April 7th, and the Queen's kickoff for the rodeo. And I also had a Women Lawyers Association meeting. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Escobedo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On April 3rd, I attended the spring mixer for American Rivera. On the 6th, I attended the closed session meeting. And then I attended the Elks kickoff dinner. And also, was it? Oh yeah, on the 11th, I attended the breakfast with the president at Mary Hospital. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cordero?
I have no report for you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. April 7th, I did the Ben Hayes show. On the 3rd, went to the opening of the American Riviera Bank. April 4th, I attended my LAFCO meeting. On the 5th of April, which was a Friday night, Mr. Larry Falwell did sort of an opening for youth in the community for the first, and he's going to be doing that the first Friday of every month at My Place Coffee. On the 6th, did the city manager recruitment interviews and went to the Elks Rodeo Queen kickoff that evening. On the 10th of April, attended the California Cities Mayors and Council Members Department Roundtable, which was virtual. Then I went over to Marion to do a tour of their psychiatric outpatient building. This is interesting. This is the 63rd annual California Square Dance Convention was held here in Santa Maria. And so I was asked to do a proclamation and went there. And I asked the gentleman, what do you do at your convention? And he goes, we just dance the whole thing. There's no means, it's just dancing. On the 14th of April, I attended the California Alliance of Local Electeds, and that is it. And I just wanted to remind everyone, this Saturday, April 20th, at the Maldonado Center, we will be meeting to serve Santa Maria. And so if you show up at 8:30 and by 9 o'clock, you should be heading out to your project. So anyone out there would like to join us, feel welcome to do so. And that concludes tonight's meeting. Nope.
Closed session.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the council is adjourning to closed session.